Thanks so much for joining, everyone. I think we're going to give it just another minute or two to allow for others to join before we get started. Thanks for joining. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the 2021 Virtual SMA Conference. This is Jessica from Cure SMA's Family Support Department, and we thank you all so much for joining us today for the Using Your Breath for Big Emotions session. We are incredibly grateful to our national presenting sponsors, Biogen, Genentech, and Novartis Gene Therapies for their incredible support of this year's virtual SMA conference. This session is meant to be interactive, so please, we encourage you asking questions. You can either ask them live by raising your hand, the raise hand feature button, or through the Zoom chat, and you can find that located on your toolbar. We'll try to address questions throughout the presentation, or if we have time, we'll save them at the end too. So now we'd like to welcome our presenters. Hello, Tara and Claire. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you so much. We are thrilled to be here today. Again, my name is Tara Davenport. This is my daughter, Claire Miles, and we're going to talk to you today a little bit about how to use our breath to help us handle big emotions. So Claire, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I'm 9 years old and I'm about to turn 10, and I'm going into 4th grade, and I have SMA.
And we are coming to you live today from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we're so excited to be here. So Claire, let's help our friends get to know us a little bit. Tell us some things that you like to do for fun.
I like to do anything with music, but I especially love to sing. I love to swim. I love art and to draw. I like to play with my friends and with my little brother. What do you like to do for fun?
Thanks for asking. I love to make art. It's one of my most favorite things that I do. I especially love it when Claire will do it with me. I really like to read. I sort of like to exercise, and I mostly love to meditate. It's really something that I love doing, and I'm so excited that we get to be here today to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to share a little bit about our family?
Yeah. We have 6 people in our family. My mom and dad, and I have a big brother named Gavin, who is in college. I have a big sister named Mal, who is leaving soon for college. And I have a little brother named Hugh, who is going into 2nd grade. And we have 2 dogs. My dog's name is Nimbus, and he is really tiny.
6 pounds.
Yeah.
Super tiny.
And the family's dog is named Zeke, and he is a really wild puppy.
So if you hear barking in the background, it's most likely our puppy Zeke. All right, Claire, the last question I'm going to ask you, at least for now, what is your favorite book or book series?
Well, I can't pick a favorite book, but probably my favorite book series is Harry Potter.
And that's going to come in later in our presentation today. All right, so I'm not sure. It looks like we have a pretty good crowd today. So we are going to stay on mute for now. If you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we'll do our best to keep an eye on that. We'll definitely have time for questions at the end. Throughout our presentation, we're going to ask for some thumbs up or thumbs down or thumbs sideways, depending on how you feel about some things. So if you want to turn your camera on, feel free to do that, but you definitely don't have to. It's just sort of for fun, so we can all feel like we're engaged together. Okay, so let's get started with what we're learning about today, which is how we can use our breath to help us with big emotions. I think we should start with a riddle.
Yeah.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's our riddle. You can hold me without your arms, but not for very long. You cannot see me, but you cannot live without me. What am I?
Your breath.
Exactly. So that's what we're here to talk about today, our breath. So let's start. The first thing we're going to do here together is we want everyone to take a few breaths and see where in our body we most feel our breath. And even if you have a machine that helps you breathe, like your BiPAP, we usually all still have one place where we most can feel the air coming into our body or where our body moves as we breathe. So we're going to give it a try, and we're all going to just take a few breaths and just be aware of where in our body can we feel it when we're breathing.
Okay.
So it feels like it changes every time that we do this exercise, but for me right now, I mostly felt it in my belly. I felt like my belly was expanding and contracting as I was taking breaths. What about you? Where could you feel the breath in your body?
I think I felt my breath mostly in my chest.
Mostly in your chest. So it would go up and down as you would take breaths?
Yeah.
So we're curious about you guys, and you can show us by thumbs up, or someone in the room with you can give us a thumbs up, or you can use the thumbs up feature in Zoom if you want to. Claire's teaching me how to do all this stuff. If you are able to feel your breath somewhere in your body, give us a thumbs up. Oh, I'm seeing some thumbs up coming through. Yep. Oh, look, we're getting a lot of them. All right, so we can all find somewhere in our body that we can feel our breath. And if you couldn't feel your breath, it's totally fine. And maybe next time we do this, because we're going to do it again in a little bit, maybe you can think about a certain place like your chest and like what Claire could feel and think, can I feel it in my chest? I don't know. Okay, Claire, so I bet our friends are wondering, why do we care about this? Why do we care about our breath and being able to feel it? What do you think?
I think that it's because our breath is always with us through all of our emotions, even happy emotions.
So exactly. So no matter what we're feeling, sometimes we feel super happy, sometimes we feel sad or angry or even frustrated, or even sometimes when we feel silly, we can always have our breath with us. No matter what, our breath is always there to help us. So does our breath make the bad feelings or the good feelings go away?
No, it doesn't. It just takes the edge off of them, kind of.
That's what we always like to say. It sort of just takes the edge off of them sometimes if we feel our breath instead of feeling the emotion and the feeling. And it just sort of lets them pass instead of us like getting more angry or more silly where we get a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
And so it's especially helpful on the feelings that make us not feel good. So we have this thing that we're going to share. Should we share with them about flipping our lid?
Yeah.
Okay. So flipping our lid is this cool thing that our family learned about that helps us understand big emotions and how we can help ourselves calm down when we feel big emotions. So we're going to start by pretending that Claire's hand is a brain. All right, so this is pretending to be a brain. So if this brain of hers had eyes, they would be right here and they would be looking out at you to help you figure out where the brain is there. So the brain has two parts that we're going to talk about today. It actually has like way more than two parts, but we're only going to talk about two of them today. So this top part up here where her fingers are, this is our thinking brain. This is this top part of our brain that humans have. It helps us to use words. It helps us to make good choices. We call it our thinking brain. But if you open up your hand, this middle and bottom part down here, this is what we're going to call our emotional brain. It's the part that we're using when we feel super big emotions. So most of the time, both of these parts work together. And that's just how we typically go about our days when we're just feeling pretty laid back and normal. But sometimes when we get really upset about something, we flip our lid, which means that we stop using this top thinking part of our brain. And so this bottom emotional part of our brain is in control. And that's when we have really big, super strong emotions, when we've flipped our lid. Can you think of a time that you have ever flipped your lid?
Maybe a time that I flipped my lid is sometimes playing with my brother. We fight, like he won't help me pick up something, which makes me flip my lid. And also, I have a feeding tube, which is like a G tube, and Sometimes when I have to change the actual tube, I flip my lid and I don't like it.
Even if I just say it's time to change the tube, whoosh, we can flip the lid. Can you think of a time you've ever seen me flip my lid?
Maybe when there was a rattlesnake on the porch.
One day we walked outside and there was a rattlesnake on the front porch, and Claire's little brother was standing right next to it. And I flipped my lid so much, all I did was yell, move, move. That's all I could do. Did anyone even move?
No.
No, everyone just froze because they're like, Mom, why are you acting so crazy? So that was definitely a time that I flipped my lid. In fact, I couldn't even find words really. So in our family, we like to say to each other, if we see each other getting worked up with some big emotions, we say, hey, don't flip your lid. Or we try and say it really kindly, like, oh, are you maybe about to flip your lid? And it's just a way that we can help remind each other, and we can remember that maybe our emotions are getting a little bit big, and we can use some of our tools that we have to help us settle down before we go all the way into full lid flippage.
Yeah.
But we have a really cool song that we like to sing when we are talking about flipping our lid. But I'm curious, Claire, are there some words in the song that you think people might need to know what they mean?
Yeah, there's some words that I don't even know.
Okay.
Something about a vibratone.
A vibratone. So a vibratone, it's like a bell, and you can ring it, and we sometimes use it in meditation, or sometimes people use it for singing, and you make a noise with it, and then you listen, and you put all your attention on listening until you can't hear the sound anymore. And I don't have one, but I do have this cool bowl, thank you, that sort of works in the same way. So what we want to try is Claire is going to bang the bell here, and we're hoping that the sound picks up through our computer microphone and you guys can hear it. And we want you to listen really carefully. And when you can't hear it anymore, give us a thumbs up. And that's how we know that you can't hear it anymore. So pay real close attention, put all your attention onto the sound of this bell. Nope, I see we have some thumbs up already. Yep. All right, so that's like when you hear that word vibratone in the song, then that's what it is. Anything else?
Something about a amygdala.
The amygdala?
Yeah.
Okay, so in our hand model of the brain here, when we flip our lid, this part is our amygdala, and it's part of our brain that makes us like want to run away. Maybe you've heard of fight or flight or freeze. It's the part that, like, if we see a tiger chasing us, that's the part that's going to get activated. And then they also talk about your prefrontal cortex, which is a big way of saying your thinking brain, this part of your brain, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the Cure SMA staff if they can share our song with us, and then we'll be back to talk about it a little bit more.
Too many things on my mind, I'm like, don't flip your lid. I pause and assess the situation. Feel the stress coming on, why am I feeling so big? I stop and I notice my frustration. Don't flip your lid. 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 Stop and notice how you're feeling.
Only thing that I hit is the vibratone, just so that I can get into my mindful zone. When others get to tripping, I make sure I don't give it. No, I ain't gon' flip my lid, I'm accountable. Miss Maya in a mindful sit, checking on my breath, with my hand on my tummy. No matter what, others can try to bug if they want. Now no one can disrupt me. Don't flip your lid, got to stop and listen to all your emotions. Got to calm the ocean. Make sure your amygdala don't open, and let them learn from that mindfulness that you showin'.
Too many things on my mind, I'm like, don't flip your lid. I pause and assess the situation. Feel the stress coming on, why am I feeling so big? I stop and I notice my frustration. Don't flip your lid.
Flip my lid?
Don't flip your lid.
Flip my lid?
Don't flip your lid. Don't flip your lid. Don't flip your lid. Stop and notice how you're feeling. I try to keep cool, calm my amygdala. Control my fight, flight, freeze in the center of my brain. Got that awareness cause of mindfulness. My prefrontal cortex helps me stress less. Don't flip your lid.
Flip my lid?
Yeah, don't flip your lid. Create that time and that space. She said that she was triggered. Notice the tension in her face. So she took her breath in case she be breathing, she be listening, she be thinking, she be pausing. Keep her lid on when she's triggered, and she's never gonna stop. I practice mindfulness daily so I don't act so shady. Control my emotions, there's no moment that can face me, yeah. Too many things on my mind, I'm like, don't flip your lid. I pause and assess the situation. Feel the stress coming on, why am I feeling so big? I stop and I notice my frustration. Don't flip your lid.
Flip my lid?
Don't flip your lid.
Flip my lid?
Don't flip your lid. Don't flip your lid. Don't flip your lid. Stop and notice how you're feeling.
All right, thank you for sharing that for us. How fun is that song? It's something that we like to say at our house, and we like to sing it in that way. Don't flip your lid. Don't flip your lid. Do you know what? We were going to ask if you guys liked it, and we're already having thumbs up showing up without us even having to ask. And we always like to say, if you don't like it, you can give us a thumbs down, although that's not a choice on the Zoom. Or what does your brother do? A lot.
A sideways thumb.
Sideways thumb. He's always like, I don't know, sort of like it, sort of don't. That's his standard answer of things. So that song is really just a fun way of helping us to remind ourselves and others that big emotions maybe are taking over, and we need to figure out how to not flip our lid.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the question we haven't talked about yet. If we are experiencing these super big emotions, how can we get ourselves settled down? Okay, so do you guys remember at the beginning, we all worked to try and find somewhere in our body that we could feel our breath. Remember doing that? Of course we do. So we are going to try it again, one more time before we move into our exercises that we're going to work on. So let's try it one more time and see if maybe you can feel it in your chest, maybe in your belly, maybe in your nose, maybe at your mouth. Do you know what? I had one kid once tell me that he could feel his breath in his feet.
That's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird, but you never know. Everyone's different. Okay, so let's take a few breaths and notice where we feel our breath. Mine was in my nose this time.
Mine was in my belly.
In your belly. What about you guys? Were we all still able to feel it somewhere? Yeah, a little bit. That's good. All right. So, Claire, when you flip your lid, what do you notice about your breath?
I noticed that it starts to get like really fast and short, like.
Yeah. Do you know what I remember that day I saw the rattlesnake? I felt like I couldn't even take a breath in.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you definitely could yell.
But I definitely could yell. So what's cool is that with practice, we can use our minds, what we're thinking about, to control our breath or to put our focus or our awareness on our breath. So if we notice that our breath is getting short or our heart is racing or something that shows us that we might be about to flip our lid, then we can use some tools from our mind to help us calm down. And Claire, tell us, or show us actually, what does our brain look like as we're calming down?
So this is my brain, and let's say I just flipped my lid because I had to change my feeding tube or something like that. And then watch my hand while it goes back to where I'm calm again. And now I'm calm again.
Perfect. So when we focus on the sensations of our breath, or we take a few mindful breaths, then those are some ways that we can stop flipping our lid. So we're going to share some different ways that we can do this. Different ways of noticing our breath and of feeling our breath and of controlling our breath if we have the ability to do that. So which one do you want to show first?
Figure 8 breathing.
Okay, we love figure 8 breathing. Okay, so this is the number 8, right? If we turn it sideways, whoop, this is the shape that we use for figure 8 breathing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have it drawn. because this is one that you do in your head, or for Claire,
with my Harry Potter wand.
with her Harry Potter wand.
But
That's
if you
how she
don't know
likes to
like
trace
what
it.
Harry Potter is, or you don't like Harry Potter that much, you can like use your finger. You can let me think.
Like a sword. If you had
Yeah,
a
you can use
sword,
a
somebody could use a sword. What if somebody can't move very much? What's the way that they could do it?
They could you like do it with their eyes.
Yeah, somebody in the room could make that shape and they could follow it with their eyes, or they could just think about what that shape looks like. So what we do with figure eight breathing is I like to start in the middle. And as I'm going up, I breathe in. And as I'm going down, I breathe out. Breathing in. And even if you have a machine that helps you breathe, you can still just focus on those sensations in that same pattern. And we all do it at our own pace. So right now, Claire and I are doing it at the same time, but in real life, sometimes one of us is breathing fast and one of us is breathing slow. So everyone thinking of a way, whether it's in your head, whether it's tracing it with your finger, maybe with a pen, whichever way works the best for you, or have someone in your room. And let's all try it a few breaths here and see how we feel after we do it. And it's important while we do this to also not just control our breathing, if that's what we're trying to do, but also just to feel our breathing, because that way our body knows that we don't need to be flipping our lid. We could be feeling what we feel in our bodies in that moment. Okay, so that's our first one, figure eight breathing.
Yeah.
Which one should we do next?
Finger tracing.
Okay, finger tracing. I'm going to say this is my least favorite one because it tickles my hand, but there's so many different ways to do this. So what we do in finger breathing is we use our hand or someone else's hand, or someone can use our hand if we can't move well enough to do this with two hands, and we breathe up when we trace, and then we breathe down. And we breathe up, and we breathe down. And how do you usually like to do it? Should we show them how you do it?
Because I can't really hold my arm up to do it. I put it on the table and do it.
We could even, if Claire wasn't able to do it, I could move my finger on her hand so she gets to feel it while she takes her breath. So there's lots of different ways you'll see on all of these exercises that we're sharing today. There's lots of different ways to do them. And we all just have to experiment and see what works best for our bodies, because all of our bodies are different. In fact, I usually don't even trace the outside. I just go up and down on each finger because it's less tickly. So let's do it. Should we go through our hand and
maybe
each of us do
we
it?
can do like one this way and one the other.
Okay, so we'll go one to our pinky and then one back. And just feel how your body feels when you're only focused on breathing in and what that feels like and breathing out. And remember, we can all do it at our own pace. Everyone breathes at a different pace. And so what that shows us is that we can feel our breaths. And if we're like about to flip our lid, it just helps us feel into our bodies a little bit so that we can settle down a little bit. I'm going to see if we had a question in our chat. Nope, not yet. Okay. Okay, so figure eight breathing, finger trace. Which one should we do next?
How about tense and melt?
Tense and melt. This is one that Claire's little brother Hugh taught us about. So you guys might remember in the song that we listened to, he talks a lot about notice your frustration. For us, the words and the music weren't lined up, so it might have been a little bit harder to get that, but he talks a lot about. We can notice our frustration in our body. So when you notice frustration in your body, Claire, what does it feel like?
It feels like where I'm just like my eyebrows kind of are down, and I just don't. I'm just like don't want to do anything
Yeah.
almost. Kind of clench.
You cross
up.
your arms like what you're doing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get really tight when we get frustrated, right? Do you guys know that feeling? And so in this exercise, what we do is we practice in whatever way we can, getting tight, and then we melt. And we melt, we think about ourselves, what we like to say is an ice cream on a hot sidewalk on a summer day. So we get ourselves super tight. And then we just, as best we can. And if we can't squeeze our whole bodies, what are some options?
You can just squeeze like your fist.
You could do just a fist tight and then melt your fist.
Or you could like squeeze your eyes shut and kind of your face. And you can even like just think of you being really clenched.
Of what something super tight feels like, and then
Yeah.
how it feels to just relax.
Yeah.
Should we do a few rounds of that?
Yeah,
Let's practice that
let's
and see
four,
how.
like 4 of them.
About 4 of them? Okay,
Yeah.
so try it different ways. The fun part about learning this kind of breathing is that you have to figure out what works for you. So let's try a few breaths of it. I feel pretty relaxed.
Me too.
I sort of want to go get an ice cream.
Me too.
Maybe we'll wait till we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's tense and melt. Okay, we have 2 more for you. What's the next one you want to share?
Feet and hand breathing.
Feet and hand breathing. Okay, so in feet and hand breathing, we use our feet and our hand and we move them as best we can, or someone else can move them, or we can watch someone else move our hands. And how I like to do it is like this. And I breathe in and I breathe out. How do you do it?
I put my hands on the table as far as I can get them. And then I breathe in and the back of my hand goes up. And then I go down.
And then how's the other way you like to do it? Do you want to show that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I need to turn my chair on.
Other way Claire likes to do it is
With my feet.
with her feet on the
I make
platform of
them
her
go
chair.
flat as I can. And then when I breathe in, I make my heels go up. And then when I breathe out, they go down.
So that's how you do hand and feet breathing. It's a way to get our bodies involved a little bit more to help us focus more on our breath. So can everyone think of a way that they could do hands and feet breathing? If you can't do it, someone maybe in the room can do it, and I'll put my hands up here and do it. Okay.
And if you can't even do that, you can like imagine maybe like in Harry Potter, if you know Harry Potter, or just any cool thing that you can do that's like, because they do a spell where it lifts you up in the air and you're almost like flying.
And then
And then it can let you back down, and you can imagine that spell happening to you.
to your whole body. It gets your body involved in the breathing. I like that one. All right, so let's try it. You ready?
I'm gonna do my hands.
You do your hands on, okay. I love the feeling of that one.
Yeah.
That one's really fun. Okay, this last one is hands down my favorite because we really like to be silly in our family, which is why we go around rapping about don't flip your lid. So this one is called animal sound breathing. Do you want to explain it or do you want me to?
I'll explain it.
Okay.
So animal sound breathing is where like When you breathe in, you just normally breathe in. And then when you breathe out, you make an animal sound. Moo.
And you get all your air out, making your animal sound.
Yeah.
What would be another example? I like to do a fish.
I can't do that one.
That one's hard for you? Okay.
Yeah.
What's another one you'd like to do?
I like to do a bee.
Okay.
You don't like the bee.
I don't like the bee because it makes my lips tingle.
Bzzz.
Or a cat, you could do.
Meow.
And it's hard not to laugh when you're doing this. So if you were about to flip your lid and somebody was like, hey, you want to breathe like a cow? It sort of can help lighten the situation a little bit.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do.
But if you can't like make those sounds,
Thank you.
then you can like imagine, like if you were imagining a cow, you could imagine a cow next to you and you can breathe while it goes moo.
Mhm.
Or if you have someone else in the room that could moo for you or make the sounds, then you can just breathe with it.
Exactly. All right. So since this is our favorite one and we love to be silly, we are going to invite you, if you want to take your Zoom off of mute so we can all do animal sounds breathings together.
But if you have headphones on, you should probably at least take them out a little bit or turn your sound low because it is going to be loud.
That could get loud. And we're going to do 4 times of animal breathing. And you can do the same animal all 4 times. You can do a different animal. You can do 2 and 2. You can do it however you want. And we're all going to do it at our own pace.
So 4 times?
4 times,
Okay.
4 breaths. Okay, so everyone, if you want to, take your mutes and unmute yourself. And here we go.
Moo.
Oh, I heard some fun ones. I even think I heard a rooster. That was pretty fun. We didn't even think about a rooster. It's just another way to focus on that out breath and just help ourselves relax when we're feeling some really big emotions and that we're maybe starting to flip the lid.
Mhm.
So Claire, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
What if we only try to use these exercises, these breathing exercises, when we're experiencing our really big emotions? Does it work?
No, it doesn't work. You have to practice them when you're not having big emotions, because if you're doing it when you have big emotions, if you're mad, you could go, I don't want to do this and I'm not going to do this. Or like if you're sad, you could be like, I'm not going to do this. No.
Mhm. Exactly. So we have to practice these. And when is a good time that you can think of to practice or that you do it?
Maybe at school, if you finish your assignment quickly,
Mhm.
then you can practice them quietly.
Because a lot of them you can do them without people noticing, right? Maybe not
Yeah.
animal breathing,
Yeah, maybe
but,
not animal breathing.
but a lot of the other ones you can do, even when you're
Yeah.
around other people, they wouldn't even know it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then
what else?
maybe when you're lying in bed before you get up,
Mhm.
or right before you fall asleep.
What if you're waiting for someone to transfer you out of your wheelchair? Would that be a good time?
Yes.
Unless you're annoyed that they're not going
Yeah.
fast enough transferring you?
Yeah. Or if
Something
like if you're not scared of appointment that you might be going to at the doctor's office, then you can practice it there.
Because sometimes those waiting rooms get long.
Yes.
And sometimes those waiting rooms can make us a little bit nervous and
Yeah.
can make us flip our lid. So that's a good time to practice
Yeah.
so that we're ready if we do have those feelings.
Yep.
So another good way to practice is by teaching these exercises to somebody else.
Yeah.
Who could we teach them to?
You can teach them to your mom and dad, maybe a sibling, a babysitter, therapist, friends,
Do you think you could teach a
teachers.
pet how to do these?
Yes, you could teach a dog, a cat, a fish, pretty much any pet you have.
Because it's really not about the animal learning how to do it. It's about you teaching it. Because when you teach somebody how to do something, then you get even better at doing it yourself.
Because you're almost pretty much practicing it.
Mhm, you are practicing it. It's another chance.
And you can
practicing.
even teach like a stuffed animal.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally can. Okay, so we went over 5 different kinds of exercises. We did figure 8 breathing. We did our finger tracing. We did our tense and melt. We did our hand and feet breathing.
Kind of reminds me of like jellyfish breathing, maybe.
Ooh, jellyfish breathing would be a fun one to call that. And animal sound breathing. Neigh, which is my favorite. I love to be silly. All right, so we want to know, does anyone want to share any other breathing exercises that you might have, or if you have any questions for us? You are welcome to, we can't see everybody at once, but you could chat. Oh,
Full screen, go to
somebody
full
raised
screen.
their hand. All right, Bear, take yourself on mute, off mute.
I have one that's called 478 breathing,
And how do you do that?
where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it in for 7, and then you breathe out for 8.
Nice, that's a fun one. We're gonna have to try that one. I bet
Yeah.
that one would really help at bedtime to help you fall asleep. That seems like a
Yeah.
good one for bedtime. Love it.
I
Thank you
think,
for sharing that.
you can fall asleep really easy.
Yep.
Hmm.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Bear. Anyone else have any questions or just anything at all that you might want to share?
Was there somebody raising their hand? Wait, give me a minute.
Claire's better at driving the machine than I
I
am.
know
So
somebody. What? Wait, maybe not.
nope.
Never mind. Oh, yes.
There we go. Yep, Sophia has one. Okay, Sophia, unmute yourself and tell us. Hi, Sophia. Sophia, I had a hard time understanding your question. Thank you for coming, all of you. We really enjoyed presenting this today. Sophia, do you want to try again, or do you want to type it, have someone type it into the chat? You're still on mute, so we can't hear you.
Yeah. She'd like to see your dog, if it's okay.
You want to see our dog?
Yeah, I can get it.
I'm gonna go grab Nimbus. Thanks for asking. We'll go grab him and you can see Claire's dog.
Sophia, I can show you my dog too.
You're speaking Claire's language. Claire loves nothing more than getting to show off her little 6-pound dog. Oh, look, someone else is showing off a little dog too. Kurt's showing off a dog.
She has,
Yeah.
her dog looks similar to both of those.
Oh, cool. We love our little puppies. They're the best. Nimbus spends most of his time right here on Claire's lap. Nice and soft.
She said, what kind of dogs are they?
Ours is a Pomapoo, a Pomeranian crossed with a poodle. Kurt, what kind is yours?
Mine is a poodle mix from the shelter. We don't know exactly what, maybe poodle and Bichon.
Got it.
Oh, there's Bear's kitty.
Oh, Bear has a kitty. How fun
So-
to turn this into the animal show.
Sophia
So
has a
someone
leash.
said,
Climb
what,
on the table. Hi.
so Claire, what would it look like if you were trying to teach Nimbus how to do these breathing exercises? What would you do? That was one of the questions we got.
Nimbus, you want to learn some breathing exercises? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. You could do this. Okay, so we can try the what's it called?
Which one do you
Hand
wanna try?
and feet
The hand and
breathing.
feet breathing.
And I can put it in front of him,
Uh-huh.
and I can be like, okay, Nimbus.
Take a breath in. So again, teaching your pet about breathing, it's as much about you just remembering how to do some of these breathing exercises, because honestly, I don't think our pets are going to be really good at learning these, but you never know. These poodles are super smart. Nimbus looks very calm now. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We had a great time. We really hope that you can find a way to put some of these activities to practice in your real life. And again, practice, practice, practice. Because if you only try to do this when you're flipping your lid, it's not going to be as helpful. So the more you practice, the better it is. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Claire and Tara, for
Bye.
offering this session. It was such a great session and we all enjoyed it so much. We appreciate everyone who joined in today. There is a survey linked in the session page where you'll be receiving a follow-up email with that survey link as well. Once again, we're so incredibly thankful for the support from our sponsors for making the 2021 virtual SMA conference possible. If there are any additional questions, please email familysupport@curesma.org. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for the 2021 virtual SMA conference. Thank you.